I think that it's time to the director of the center, Xavier, to say us some words.
Okay, thank you very much. So President of the SIC, good rector, vice-rector, molts speakers, amics and amigues. First of all, I would like to acknowledge all the speakers that have accepted today to be here in this special day, Recordant MCardona. It has been certainly a great pleasure as the present director of ICMAB to have assumed together with the director of ICN2, Dr. Pablo Ortejón, the organization of this extremely deserved special day, Recordant MCardona. Nobody else will really deserve as much as this man, an universal Catalan, receiving a tribute from ICMAB. MCardona has been the reference for the Catalan and Spanish physicists and later for material scientists and nanotechnologists for many years, at least for the whole life of ICMAB, now 30 years, while he was active for more than 50 years. Certainly, as you know, Catalonia experimented a scientific renaissance, or renaixença in Catalan, was already a key period for the cultural preservation in Catalonia. This scientific renaissance, in my opinion, started around 1985, 86. And it was later accelerated around 2000 with a new vision, new ideas of what we wanted to implement, and of course also the personal resolution, the practical input, and the power of one of the speakers that we will have today here, which is Professor Andreu Mascolell. Around that time, in 1985, it was myself, a young staff professor at the physics faculty in the Universitat de Barcelona, where it was quite difficult to do first rank and internationally competitive research. A Catalan man in Madrid, it was the period of El Cambio, there, with the Socialist Party in the power, jumped to the presidency of the CSIC, a quite old-fashioned scientific institution at that time, and his name was Enric Trilles. He was able to combine the central political staff that the CSIC in Catalonia needed a big jump. New centers were necessary. This was the reason why, nearly simultaneously, the Institute of Microelectronics of Barcelona, where the president was part of him, the Institute of Material Science of Barcelona and the Institute of Artificial Intelligence were created. The president, as I said, was strongly involved also in this renaissance of these microelectronic institutes. Additionally, another of our speakers today, Professor Ramon Pascual, was at that time a clever and visionary rector at the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona. With his contribution, the campus of Bellaterra started to attract the best opportunities at that time to initiate new adventures towards the generation of competitive centers able to perform scientific research. This is the reason why today Bellaterra is one of the most powerful scientific research campuses in the south of Europe, particularly in the field of material science and nanoscience, where the synchrotron alba also deeply contributes to this outstanding position. Several names were key persons here to start in Spain a modern material science research area. INDETESIC anticipated this area before the Spanish ministry, and there were three names that were key for this success. Within the INDETESIC, these were Professor Carlos Miravilles, who we also are speaking today, and Professor José María Serratosa in Madrid. But for sure, they would have never succeeded without the support of MCardona as an international reputed scientist in the field. Actually, MCardona became the first president of the International Scientific Board of these four new created Material Science Institute of CSIC in Barcelona, Madrid, Zaragoza, Sevilla. As chairman of this board, he had the opportunity to anticipate an idea nowadays widely expanded around Europe, that of the scientific excellence. He was at that time the scientific director of a Max Planck Institute in Stuttgart, an institution where the excellence was part of the genetic code. I'm sure that when he accepted this position, he had in mind to introduce in our internal governing practices those already existing at the Max Planck centers. These internal governing practices were well understood and integrated by Professor Miravilles at ICMAB many years before the universities and other research centers in Catalonia and in Spain, and started a renovated approach now more and more extended. For instance, around the year 2000, the ICREA, the CERCA institutes were created by Professor Masculel, or the ERC in Europe started to talk about excellence around 2006. All of them then in the basis of what's the concept of the scientific excellence. Manuel Cardona served for around 15 years, up to 2005, in the Scientific Advisory Board of the CSIC Material Science Institute, with a deep commitment, and his influence in the success of these centers was huge. He introduced the idea that talented young scientists should be attracted to this adventure. Manuel was particularly attached to ICMAB because he was always feeling himself at home. He was actually a Catalan man who was forced by the political and social circumstances to leave his country. He really wanted that science was again developed and cultivated here in Catalonia and in Spain, where many talented people had been forced to leave this country. He was very active, helping in the selection of research topics, in detecting good scientists, and in implementing merit and scientific interest and novelty as the main parameters to implement research programs. Personally, I am really in debt with Manuel Cardona. Manuel started his scientific career in the USA with some interest in superconductivity, a passion which was then completely overlooked by his involvement in semiconductors, just in the period where modern electronics emerged around the world. In 1986, however, Bednorz and Müller discovered at IBM in Switzerland the high-temperature superconductors. And of course, Manuel Cardona decided immediately that this was a second opportunity. This topic should be investigated by himself and by any modern research center in material science. We could not miss this opportunity. For that reason, he advised the director of ICMAB to start a research group in this field, and I was selected for this duty in 1989, when I left the University of Barcelona and I joined ICMAB and the CSIC. I was actually quite ignorant in the field of superconductivity. I had been actively involved in magnetism during the previous 10 years, and only after 30 years of research in this area, I can properly calibrate how daring I was accepting this challenge. First serious European research project was actually one related to high-temperature superconductors, and Max Planck Institute of Solid-State Physics was there, with Manuel Cardona in charge. It was around 1990, and I remember well a young postdoc who was baking the ideas and the experiments of Manuel. His name was Dr. Christian Thompson, today the president of the Technical University of Berlin, and who has been very kind to accept the invitation to be here today to remind Manuel Cardona. Thank you. I still remember very well the meeting we celebrated in the Cardona Castle, a magnificent site to discuss about the high-temperature superconductivity. He was extremely happy, Manuel, to learn more about the history of this church and the castle built around it. He really had the opportunity to marry science and history, two of his passions, and to show to his foreign colleagues how interesting was this land, and also that the name of Cardona was really something important here in Catalonia. During all his life, he stayed many times for short periods at ICMAB, and he also celebrated special events in Bella Terra, such as the 60th anniversary in '94, when we celebrated a scientific workshop which was attended by more than 50 former Spanish collaborators. So we were very happy to support his honoris causa doctorate by the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona in 1985. And of course, also the celebration of the 25th anniversary of this doctorate in 2010, which gathered also a lot of young and less young scientists. All of them were very happy to know either who was this famous Catalan scientist, or to have the opportunity to review the personality and the achievements of such an extraordinary person and scientist. He also was awarded with the ICREA grant to support him when he spent a few months in ICMAB during the years 2002-2005. And so he had the opportunity to strengthen the collaboration with the Catalan scientific community. During these days, we had many interesting discussions, and we also had the opportunity to know more about one of his passions, the evaluation of scientific impact. His advice really helped to increase our interest in these activities, and our scientific documentation department really enjoyed to interact with him. When Manuel Cardona retired from Max Planck in 2002, he had again the opportunity to help us. He donated to the ICMAB library the collection of books that he had accumulated during all his life. This is actually the reason why the name of our library now is Manuel Cardona Library. In 2010, during the celebration of this 25th anniversary of the Dr. Honoris Causa by UAB, I revised the scientific impact of ICMAB and I compared it to that of Manuel Cardona. At that time, we had an age factor, the ICMAB, of 81, about 50 scientists in 25 years. But Manuel Cardona, by himself alone, he got an age of 97. We were still well behind him. Today, the ICMAB has jumped to an age of 115, and so we have finally reached the records of Manuel Cardona. So we have, after 30 years, an overall impact which is already similar to the one of Manuel Cardona, a real achievement. Today, the ICMAB is one of the 22 research centers in Spain, having the Severo Ochoa Center Excellence level, and so we are very proud of having achieved this distinction, classifying us as an international reference center in materials or advanced functional materials for social challenge. It's the topic of our strategic plan. We have also obtained a total of 5 ERC grants, and we expect to continue this success. So we are among the top-ranked centers in the particular race in Catalonia and Spain, and we compete with the top positions within Europe. We are sure that Manuel Cardona would have been very proud of it. Both ICMAB and ICN2, two research centers where he was deeply involved in the corresponding developments, are today in the list of these first-rank Ochoa centers, cultivating his scientific domain. So it is physics, material science, nanoscience, here in Barria Terra, where we promote the Barcelona nanotechnology cluster. So Manuel, we can surely say we have reached the goal. It is certainly not easy, as you know, to keep track nowadays at the top level in the international scene. This is why today, that I have here the president of the CSIC institution, I'm sure he will allow me to claim for a couple of things. First, I would like to acknowledge him by the support we have received from the CSIC to adapt the ICMAB to the jump registered here last year, in 2015, with the Severo Ochoa Award and these 3 new ERC grants. Certainly, the negotiation to become the main user of the neighboring MADCAS building has not been an easy one. By the way, we are still Cupas, as you know, but probably we will sign very, very soon this agreement. And no, it takes time. In any case, without this decision, we will have never been able to develop these novel grants, so thank you very much. On the other hand, I still need to ask more. This is the duty of the directors. As you know, we have been claiming for a long time that to keep the competitiveness of our centers, we need more flexibility in our governance and a simplified management. We know the answer. We have public administration, the rules are there. Still, we need to insist. If you can change the rules, at least try to minimize the negative impact of these applications, as I know that you are doing. On the other hand, we know that we have been crossing hard times. It's difficult to hire more personnel, but we need a reasonable amount of supporting personnel, not necessarily civil servants in the center. Otherwise, we will not be able to comply with all the needs and expenses to run for a competitive research center. We are already close to the 50% of the budget coming from competitive funds, and we can probably not afford to increase this figure. As we mention very often, we are not attracting enough also in governing ourselves. We are in selecting and recruiting personnel, in being able to take fast decisions and implement them. We will not survive in the research ecosystem of the European excellence. The concerns about the CSIC competitiveness were recently very well summarized by Professor Evelina Cardona, and I don't need to repeat what he said, but please look for a quantum tunnel effect, allowing us to cross the walls towards another reality. We need to overcome the high potential barrier where we are confined. Just to mention a recent case, the CSIC has succeeded in creating non-civil servants positions for scientists, the so-called distinguished scientist figure. This is a great opportunity, in our opinion. They could become something like the Spanish in Korea. Let's pray for it. But again, there is still a long way to go. These people have still not received a concise information about the regulation to be applied for their contract. I know that you have been struggling with the lawyers and the administration managers and so on to get it, but up to now the success is not there. It's really important that this contest reaches strong attractiveness. The ICMAB has 5 very clear researchers at present doing a very nice job mixed with the physics personnel and now 1 distinguished scientist. So we should be able to integrate all of them well. Needless to say, our claim will be also very helpful to join forces in initiatives such as the Barcelona Institute of Science and Technology, today represented here by its president Mascoli. So I would like now to finish my speech with some brief additional acknowledgements. First, to all the personnel who has contributed to assemble the good friends of Manuel we have here today. I'm sure you will enjoy listening to the 6 speakers who were friends, pupils, or colleagues from Manuel Cardona. If I didn't mention before, let me say that so that this meeting is being recorded, and so I would like to say a few words to Inge, his wife. Please be sure that the Barcelona people, and particularly ICMAB, will never forget Manuel Cardona. His name is already registered in the walls of our library, and so his memory will be transmitted to the following generations. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Xavier. Of course, some of your words are on the duties of the director, but you know that that I have also my duties, and this is not the only problem. The big problem is that ahead from the duties I have a lot of restrictions, and being the director of material science, you should be aware of what is the dark material, and we have to face with the administration with some kind of dark material and fussy one. So I take your words as a good idea to try to overcome this wall using the tunnel effect. I am not quite sure that in the Ministry of Hacienda they will know about what is the tunnel effect. But we will try to explain them if this is possible. Anyway, thank you. And